Natasha. I am your astrological birth chart counselor, as I like to use the tool of the personal birth chart into kind of a counseling approach in how to be a little more reflective, self-reflective, introspective, and kind of work on your weaknesses as well as embracing your strengths. So Leo rising. So Leo is a fixed fire sign, and what the ascendant is basically making this Leo in your first house of the self, or who you are, as well as who other people see you as when they interact with you one-on-one, before you even get to getting any insights as to who you really are. So this is the mask that you wear, or the kind of persona, the presentation that you come off with in the beginning. Regardless if you are a sun sign or moon sign, that is completely something else. You know, when you're interacting one-on-one with someone else, this is kind of the energy that you might kind of give off to people, whether you are aware of it or not. Or it is also like our defense mechanism. It is literally our ego. So everybody needs an ego in order to survive and protect themselves. So this is kind of the archetype of how you kind of protect yourself when you feel kind of threatened or hurt, or you're trying to kind of balance the scales a little bit. So Leo can present itself as very entertaining. It naturally rules the fifth house in the chart, so it's the fun house. It is fun, play, entertainment, everything that is lighthearted, nothing deep or serious. You just want to have fun. It's children, it's creativity, it's your self-expression or how you express yourself. So Leo is like a very fun sign. So you can be very entertaining or very like into how do you present yourself. Whether that is like with your looks or with your personality, with what you know, with your leadership or your big heart, because also Leo rules the heart. So the thing to be mindful of is when you feel a little defensive, you can potentially come off as a little arrogant or a little bit of a know-it-all, or just kind of like it's an energy of feeling, not like feeling, but you might come off as like a little bit inflated, not to be like rude or mean or anything, but if that is you, someone has to tell you, I guess, even though I don't know who you are. So when defensive, everyone has some kind of ego. So for a Leo, is naturally it's the ego, or ego might be an issue for Leo and Aquarius placements. They're the two sister signs, or they're opposite of each other. But Leo, the ruler for you, for your first house, is the sun. So it's the star. So you might like assume or get used to people kind of just bowing down to you or doing things for you, for your way, as you're just naturally like a leader in some way, and you know how to direct people in getting them to do things for you, regardless of what your sun sign is. So you may give this kind of assertiveness or arrogance to you if it's not done in a certain way. So just always be mindful of how you're saying something, or like how you're presenting yourself with whatever you're doing. I can't come up with all the different scenarios. So that is just something to kind of be mindful of if you are a Leo rising or have a ton of Leo in your chart. It's almost like you might not get enough, like sometimes the downside of Leo is that nothing is ever really enough for them. They always want more, or they expect more from other people, and they're just not always capable of giving more to you. So if you're not able to fulfill whatever your desires are, your needs, getting your own needs met within yourself, and expect other people to kind of do that for you, or they might feel like that even though it has nothing to do, you didn't expect them to do anything, and you have, that's a communication problem. But then, you know, people around you might feel a little depressed or kind of put down or not good enough for you. And so just be mindful of the people around you like that, even if that's not your intention at all. So it's just something to kind of look for, as the sun is super bright, and sometimes when something is so bright, like you can't see very clearly, you can't see the details of what is actually happening, or you know, you can't see clearly as to what's actually going on with the other person, or how you see yourself, because it's so bright, because the sun kind of burns wherever it is at the same time. So just be a little mindful of that, as it might be something like blind, you know, like you need sunglasses, you know, in order to see better. So that's kind of like a way to describe it. Otherwise, you can come off as someone who has a very, very big, giving, loyal heart, and you really, really care, like you're going to give your all to whatever you're set out on doing. You are a natural leader. You know, like people will just follow you. You just naturally have it. When you walk into a room, they don't even know who you are or whatever, but there's this presence about you that is like, there's something about you that you have, if you're a Leo rising or have a ton of Leo in your chart, that other people don't have. Or, you know, it's this kind of look at me energy, whether you naturally just have that and you're not trying, or perhaps you are trying, and your self-expression is very, very flashy and it stands out a lot. Then that is like more of an obvious way of like people will turn their head to look at you because you just stand out in a more obvious way. But it doesn't have to be like that. You can have this kind of aura, a presence about you that is just like, whoa, look at that, or look at that person, even though they're not trying at all to kind of be flashy or stand out in that way. That's just an energy. So think of all of this as energy. Leo risings, as you naturally rule the 5th house, this would make your 12th house Cancer. So, you know, I like looking at the 12th house, as that is your subconscious mind. It naturally rules Pisces. So, you know, Cancer being in here is kind of how your mind kind of operates. So Cancer being in this placement, if you do not have any duplications or interceptions, which means that if you did have a duplication, for example, you would have two, you would have like one zodiac sign ruling 2 houses instead of, you know, one zodiac sign ruling 1 house as it normally would be. But a lot of people have duplications. Sometimes I've seen like triplications, whatever you call that, which people who have that, they have a very unique personality that I have found. But that would mean, so for a Leo rising, Cancer being in your 12th house would be that you're very, very nurturing and caring, and you're probably pretty sensitive. So that's why this Leo archetype is like, it can be your defense mechanism. Or if you're hurt and sensitive, you know, you're trying to not show that part of you or be that vulnerable, you know, for whatever your belief system is, which would mean Your ninth house is ruled by Aries, so your belief system, your philosophy is kind of like this kind of a warrior-like philosophy type person. Like you need to show that you're strong to not be weak or, you know, get run over out in the real world. You have to have this kind of tough presence so you don't get hurt, because your subconscious mind is more of a Cancer ruled energy, regardless if you have any planets or signs in that house. You can have 0 planets, you know, in there, but it's still ruled by a Cancer, unless you have some kind of duplication or interception. Once again, that's why you have to look at your own personal birth chart. So having Cancer in your 12th house, you know, in your mind, you're naturally very, very nurturing, kind of sensitive, caring. You care about home and family, which, you know, it makes sense that your first house, or how now you present yourself, is that you have a really, really big heart. But because you have such a big heart, and depending on what in the world happened to you in life, depending on if you're only 8 years old or you're all the way to like 70 years old and more life has happened to you, you know, maybe, you know, you've gotten toughened up, you know, and you have more of a defense mechanism going on, you know, where you need to have kind of more of this kind of assertive, authoritative kind of energy sometimes if you feel something that threatens you in some way. You know, so that's like, you have to think of a very individualistic scenario when it comes to that. But so as a Leo rising, once again, if there was one zodiac sign ruling each of your 12 houses in your natal chart, you know, and you did not have any duplications or anything like that, then your 4th house would have been ruled by Scorpio. So your childhood or upbringing would have somehow had this kind of scorpionic kind of energy to it. And Scorpio energy is very, very, very deep, fixated water or emotion. It's kind of karmic in a way. So it's kind of like you had a karmic upbringing, most likely. Regardless if you had any signs, any of your big 3 or other planets in there or not, or if it's just empty. So Scorpio being in the 4th house, there may have been a lot of power and control plays, more talk about other people's money or other people's resources of some kind, because Scorpio rules death, taxes, sex, inheritances, other people's money, other people's stuff, you know, it's other people, it's joint resources, things that normally come after marriage or the Libra house. Scorpio is after Libra, so it's usually things that you have combined with someone else in order to get something done. It's like, for example, it's a mortgage on a house you have combined with a bank in some way as a promise that you're going to make certain payments, and you get the house now, but you owe money. So it's a money house in a way, but it's other people's money. It's very deep. It's a psychological house. It rules sex, it rules psychology, and it rules power plays in a way, or how to make big jumps, you know, in order to get ahead. So that's like, somehow that's the energy of your childhood upbringing, or, you know, what you would want your home life to be, hopefully in a healthier version of that, because usually we like the opposite of, you know, we get, you know, a mixture of what, you know, for everyone, what we did like from childhood, as we're kind of stuck with it, as that is our conditioning growing up, regardless if you like it or not. And there are going to be things about it that you did not like in order to become the person that you wanted to be, or do and aspire the career that you wanted to be, which is the opposite 10th house. So yeah, so that's something else. But as a Leo rising, your 7th house would be your opposite twin. So it's kind of similar to you, yet different. So 7th house would naturally rule it would be Aquarius for you as a Libra ascendant. So you may notice that you are drawn to or attracted to Aquarius people, or people who embody this Aquarian type archetype, regardless if they are Aquarius at all or not, you know. So Aquarius represents humanitarian things as well as friendships and networking. So Leo is kind of like one of the self kind of signs, kind of like Aries. You know, it's kind of like everyone should kind of just revolve around me, you know, like I shouldn't have to ask. They should just do it for me. That's what friends are for. You know, like I shouldn't have to ask, you know, what a good friend is just to give to me. You know, it almost is the mentality, but Aquarius being the opposite would be like, no, it's not only about you or what you want. It's like a little bit for everyone. You know, we kind of have to share. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and you kind of help each other in certain ways in your little community. You communicate, because Aquarius is an air sign. Leo is a fire sign, so Leo is more passionate. Whatever you're passionate in your endeavors is, or you feel like expressing yourself in a certain way, or your personality is just like you're expressing yourself in a certain way because you just feel really good about however that may be. Aquarius, your opposite in the 7th house, whom you may gravitate towards or, you know, tend to click with a lot, because that is a part of who you are, because you are all 12 energies of the zodiac sign. But since the 1st house represents yourself, the furthest away from yourself is the 7th house. So Aquarius is the furthest away from you. But then you have to look at, do you have any actual planets here and so forth. So you may have some energy already here to help you out, and if you do not have any planets or anything in there, then you may find that it's kind of harder for you to grasp what this kind of energy is unless you hang around people who are like that, you know, because when, you know, the saying of like, you are who you hang out with, you know, you kind of learn how to imitate or do things, you know, with whoever you're kind of hanging out with. You kind of learn by association in a way. So Aquarians are more humanitarian. They are very intellectual, so they love good conversations, or conversationalists, you know, and they can be also kind of arrogant or, you know, self-centered a little bit with their intellectual pursuits, as if whatever they're doing or aspiring towards is more important than other people's agendas or whatever they're into, you know. So they can be a little stubborn and hard-headed, as they are also a fixed sign, just like Leo. They're not easily to be changed. So if they believe in something, it's kind of really hard to change their belief system, or get them to kind of budge or move, you know. So you may want them to change or budge or move, even if, you know, you intend something, you know, it's good for them. But if they don't want to do it, you know, like, it's really hard. It's hard with any of the fixed signs or signs who are kind of stubborn, which, you know, is pretty much half of the zodiac anyways. So that is kind of a reflection of you at the same time, if you are doing that. because at the same time, you can't really force anyone to do anything, because that means would you question, are you controlling? You know, even though you have good intentions and you're trying to get someone to do something, that's what you want them to do, not necessarily what they want to do. Otherwise, they'd probably be doing it, or they get to a point where, you know, they're really motivated enough to do it on their own. So just kind of be mindful of that, as some people, they want to do it, but they're not ready yet. You know, readiness is not quite the same. Or, you know, don't fall in love with the potential, because maybe the potential and capability is there, but does that mean they want to do it? Maybe. Are they ready to do it? Maybe not for another 50 years. So, you know, you have to think more when it comes to relationships, before you actually get into it. Or, you know, time changes and stuff like that. So, Aquarius rules your 7th house, and then that would mean Taurus rules your 10th house, or your house of career. So the world, or your public image of how other people, like the big grand scope of people, if you were on TV, people would see you more as this Taurian archetype. So they'll see you as very grounded, stable, kind of Venus type energy. You have this kind of nurturing groundedness that's very pleasant and calm and emotionally stable, or just stable in general. So your public image, or the world, will kind of see you as this Taurus archetype. Or you possibly have a job that is very stable and secure in some way, or kind of materialistic, because Taurus rules the material things that you own and your personal bank account. So you may come off as kind of rich looking, or like you have a lot of money, or your style is very, you know, like classic, or kind of like good taste in a way. So your presentation, because Leo is your 1st house, is like your self-expression, you know, but it's a fire sign. So when you're interacting one-on-one with people, you will have this kind of leadership quality, big heart, or maybe a little arrogant, like, oh, I'm better than that, so no, I'm not gonna do this job for this price because I am worth this much, or whatever. Possibly, that doesn't have to be the case. So the world sees you as very finesse, you know, in a way, or stylish, rich, wealthy, stable, you know, even if you are not at all, you know, and that's the farthest thing from the truth. The way you're presenting yourself, it has this energy to it, you know. But you have to look at your stage in life, you know, how far you've come. Have you passed your Saturn return yet, which is that 30-year age bubble, and other such things. So all of these things kind of matter. And so like your kind of work houses, your 2nd house would be ruled by Virgo. So that would mean that you are very detail oriented, almost OCD, with your finances and the stuff that you own. The stuff that you own kind of looks clean, you know, not like cluttered and messy and chaotic. It's just kind of like a clean, soft bed sheets kind of feeling. And it's just very detail oriented, whether that's just naturally how you are, or because you are so lavish in how you present yourself and your style, you are now forced to be that meticulous with your finances in order to make it work, you know. So you have to look at your own scenario. Your 6th house would be ruled by Capricorn. So your day-to-day lifestyle, as well as your health, is something that you have to really work on, build and grow into something really well developed and established. But that means, you know, you got to work really, really hard for your habits or your health habits. You know, you got to really put in the grind the dedication and the hard work, and push through a lot of setbacks, hurdles, pain, burden, discomfort, because that's all Capricorn, Saturn energy, in order to kind of make it big in some way, or, you know, become a football player, or whatever, build some big business thing, you know, like it starts really, really small, you have a lot of setbacks, blah, blah, but you keep going at it day to day to day to day, the same thing over and over again, or maybe looking back, restructuring a little bit, and you keep pushing forward because you are a leader, you are a Leo archetype, but that is ruling your 6th house box in your birth chart. You know, and then we already talked about 10th house Taurus, which is usually your actual career house, or how people perceive you in the spotlight. So yes, so that's pretty much all for Leo risings. So Leo in a nutshell, like entertainment, either you provide the entertainment, which whether that's just like talking, communicating, always having to feel like you have something to say, or teach and learn, or whatever, something playful and fun, like you are entertaining, or you like to be entertained by other people. You surround yourself with other people who kind of bring some kind of entertainment for you, and that's always, that depends, because everyone's definition of entertainment is different, so you have to look at that. Really big heart, cares a lot, natural born leader, kind of have this royal presence about you, like you descended from royalty in some way. Very passionate, and it's a fixed sign, so hard to budge a little bit. In your ego, you have to be mindful of being a little arrogant, you know, or if you're kind of feeling insecure in any way, that you're not kind of, you're overtaking, you know, in order to fill the, whatever you feel, sad, lonely, not good enough, you know, you are good enough, you know, you have to remind yourself that, write, you know, in a journal, everything that you're grateful for, everything that you're, you know, you're good at, that how far you have come, anything, you know. And if you don't have anything, you know, maybe it's more simple than that, you know. You don't have to think so grandiose about stuff, you know. The majority of people is just very, very normal. Whatever you see on social media is usually not a direct, reflective, honest interpretation of how their actual life really is, you know. So don't beat yourself up about that. Write everything that you are actually grateful for, and what can you do, and what is within your control of how to improve yourself, because no one can truly fill that up for you. It's like an intrinsic thing that you have to kind of do for yourself, and you have it within you, especially if you have Capricorn in the 6th house. You know, it's going to feel hard because Capricorn energy, I'm a Capricorn sun. Capricorn energy is freaking sucks, you know. It's brutal. Everything is so slow and delayed, you know. So your 6th house of day-to-day activities and things can be like, oh my God, like again, you know, something, you know, and you try to be passionate and push forward in something, and then something again, you know, happens, what now, or a setback. But you have this energy within you to persevere. Like you are very capable of achieving a lot, you know. And also look at where your Chiron placement is, your Saturn placement is. Those are two big ones to see, to unlock, you know, challenges in your birth chart. And once you kind of overcome those personal little setbacks there, you know, like these planetary holds that are in your birth chart are going to feel a little bit lighter for you. Like you're going to feel a little bit more free, you know. So you have to work on these things, you know. If life hasn't naturally just kind of pushed you towards these things, such as your North Node, if life hasn't naturally kind of shoved you in that direction, which is extremely uncomfortable, then, you know, you will feel more fulfilled and intrinsically kind of fulfilled, and you won't really have as much of a need, you know, to get these external things in order to temporarily make you feel better, you know. So I think that is it. Yeah. So if you would like a personal birth chart reading, you can go to my website, which is linked in the description box below, or you can copy paste it, you know. So it's www.natashascreativewellness.com. You go into the booking scheduling section, and it's a pre-recorded reading, and I'll send it to you as soon as I can. I have merchandise and such as journals, since that might be good for you, you know. These are from paintings that I've done, because my bachelor's is actually in art, so I'm a creative person, and my master's degrees in mental health counseling, so that's why I love astrology. And this is me 15 years ago. If you care to have a motivational journal that is fitness oriented, because it really does help the day-to-day mundane, boring stuff, which is Virgo energy that naturally rules the 6th house. When you work on these tiny little challenges that at the end of the day, it benefits you, it benefits your health, it makes you look better. And if you look better, you're gonna most likely feel better about yourself. And then over time, you can actually see the progress, whether that's in your body, unless you eat like crap all the time, and or with strength, like you're able to do a little bit heavier weight, or your technique and form is good. And that is like a lifestyle kind of thing. But if you have Capricorn in your 6th house, I know you can do it. So yeah, so you can get journals there, or a poster. And if you are more into fitness, I have a fitness channel that I just started up. It's under my actual name, Natasha Greenwood, or fit_Tasha Flex. If you like to look at motivational videos, I am not that flashy at all, as I wouldn't get work done if I'm too fixated on my outfits, or if my belly pudge is sticking out when I'm in my thick stage. Not like I have a ton of belly pudge. It really depends on your definition of that. But I'm not as lean right now. So see what's going on over there. Over time, I would hope to kind of do some more technique videos, teaching, because a lot of fitness stuff is actually repetition over and over and over again, and perfecting and mastering your form in order to access the muscles that you want to work on, to get rid of that bra line fat, or your belly fat, your tricep arm jiggle, whatever it is for you. But it's a day-to-day, you know, habit building thing, and it helps with your self-esteem, your image, your health. There's so many benefits, your mental health, and so forth. So if you care to check that out, go to that channel. Yes. Yeah, I'll probably do some kind of link down below. So yeah, and get a birth chart reading. Yeah. So if you like to check out any of my other videos, there's a playlist that's organized on my actual channel, if you explore that. So you can look at Leo archetype if you're interested, or any major placements that you have in your birth chart. So check that out as well. So I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.
I was built to last. With the webs I'm weaving, I could change the past. With all I'm achieving, got my foot on the gas. Never stop competing. If you break my glass, then this life's gonna end.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name.